Welcome to the final lesson of the product of the marketing mix, which is packaging. And this is all about containing products and containing goods more specifically. So let's dive in. So packaging is a vital part of product design, and it plays a massive role in how consumers view a product, how they get the product, how the product functions according to the sort of the standards set by the customers. It gives them all kinds of information. It creates a brand image. It creates an impression. And packaging is also an intrinsic part of product use. And what I mean by that is that the experience that customers get by using the product is directly influenced by the packaging, if that makes sense. When you're trying to use a product for the first time, it's kind of like a first impression. And packaging plays a huge role in those first impressions. So here's an example of some paleo chocolate muffin mix. Now I picked this just because I've never actually had this stuff, but the packaging is, it's pleasant to look at. It's fairly basic, but it's also quite stylish and trending. A lot of packaging is looking like this, with soft neutral colors, but still eye-catching. And a lot of packaging is going more for simple, as opposed to cramming as much info as they can on the packaging, because no one reads that stuff anyway, unless, they don't read it unless it's relatively easy to read. Some consumers take a huge interest in their packaging, but if you want people to take notice of your products and they've never seen them before, it's best to go simple, so there's a higher likelihood that consumers will see the information that you want them to see. So in terms of this packaging, pause the video for a minute, and I want you to think about all the different messages that this packaging is giving you and what this package is actually accomplishing. So looking at this stuff, here are some things that I just thought of off the top of my head. The first thing is it's resealable. So this preserves the freshness of the product inside. It also makes it really easy to use multiple times. So you don't have to, cut this lid off and then find a new container. That would be annoying, and it would diminish your appreciation for the product. So this packaging makes the actual product inside easier to use and fresher. So colors used to ID the product. So each one of these has a different color, and that's because they're actually different products. And so what's great about this sort of packaging strategy is that it associates a color with a function. And so it makes it really easy for consumers to spot in the future. Let's say you use this pink mix here, and let's say you really liked it. Next time you're in the store and you see that shade of pink, whether or not it's actually this package, consumers will look at that and think, oh yeah, that cake mix, and hopefully they'll want it again. But it just makes it really easy for consumers to find this on the shelves. Because this shade of pink is pretty unique, and so is this shade of teal. Also, the natural light colors give an impression of health, right? Like this looks like a healthy color. White or cream, I guess in this case, is a nice color. Very, very subtle and natural sort of thing. The pictures promote health. So does the name. If you guys didn't know, paleo is a diet. I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure the paleo diet is one that strategizes using foods that were only available during the paleo era, which is why it's called the paleo diet. So you don't have any kind of processed foods, because processing is a product of the past sort of 60, 50 years. Probably a little further back than that, but it's a relatively recent thing that food producers have done. And so the paleo diet doesn't believe in any kind of processing. So this communicates a notion of health and quality. Again, promoting the paleo diet so that people who follow the diet will instantly gravitate towards this product. Um, it's also convenient for transport. This flat bottom here, like it's sort of oval shaped, if you know what I mean, but this is a flat surface that will stack relatively easy in boxes and on shelves. So it makes it easy for shopkeepers to stack the product. It also makes it easy for users to keep this product in their home, because the resealable part is great, but if this thing just keeps flopping around all over the place, then it's not as useful as it would be. Um, Also, the rectangular shape makes it very easy to fit a bunch in boxes. Also, important information is in contrasting colors, so all natural. And I can't quite tell what this says. This might be, I can't read it. But the all natural part is contrasting so that people see that this falls in line with the paleo diet. So they're essentially repeating the information twice, because paleo kind of means all natural because they eliminate anything that's processed. And then for anyone who maybe doesn't know what paleo means, they put an all natural sticker in contrasting colors up there. But this rectangle here educates consumers about the product. I can't read this text, but if I had to guess, I'd say that it either says what this product can be used for, or it's a bunch of frees. I'm pretty sure that says free, and I think that says soy free. Um, but anyway, it looks like it's saying free, 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 free. So this is communicating information about what this product doesn't have, which is an interesting new trend that's been going on for the past 20 years or so. Anyway, so that packaging, I should go back. This packaging probably accomplished more than you or I thought on first glance. But when you analyze it, you see that this packaging, there's actually a lot of thought put behind this. And I'm quite impressed. This is a really strong packaging strategy that this company has gone for. Okay, so in marketing, there are generally considered to be four primary purposes of packaging. And any competent packaging should have these four things, and we're going to go through those four now. And the first is called protect and preserve. So when you're creating packaging, you want to make sure that your packaging both protects the product from physical damage and the elements and from risks during transport, but you also want to preserve the product. I mean, if you have a really strong box that would make sure that these chocolates would never get dented by anything, but it was really porous, meaning it had lots of holes in it, and let all kinds of air in, then these chocolates could go stale, they could go rotten, who knows. So you want to make sure that both protection and preservation are being considered here. So which materials should you choose based off of that? There's a wide variety of materials available, and companies are always coming up with new materials to go with. But here are some examples: glass, paper, plastic, cardboard, recycled materials. This is a hugely popular trend right now, especially in trending restaurants. For example, have any of you heard of Suzy Q? It's a really popular donut shop. I don't go there anymore. Their boxes and their packaging, and they go through a lot of packaging, it's all recycled. So, the boxes are just recycled paper brown boxes, and they just have this sort of passive orange Suzy Q stamp on them. Oh, by the way, when I said you should go, don't go now. Go when it's safe to go. Just in case anyone was like, I'm gonna go get some donuts. Like, no, 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 no. Wait till it's safe and then go. So airtight containers will preserve freshness and prevent spoilage. Larger packages deter shoplifting. That's a thing, by the way. Packages are usually bigger than they need to be. Sometimes to get a lot of info on them. Sometimes it's to make them more visible on a shelf with a bunch of other products. But a surprisingly big reason for big packaging is to prevent shoplifting. It's harder to fit bigger stuff in people's pockets and clothes and stuff like that. Things like packing materials, so styrofoam, bubble packs, etc. All those things are done to protect the chocolates. If you've ever had um, if you've ever had a box of chocolates like these, you'll notice that there's this sort of bubbly sheet of paper on top. Part of that is to absorb moisture, and part of it is to prevent these chocolates from rattling around, because it's a softer surface than the hard surface of the top of the box. So if the chocolates bounce up and down, they'll hit the foam that's on top here. Do you know why potato chip bags have been so big? And a lot of people think it's to rip people off. And, there might be some validity to that, but when they price this stuff out, they price how much profit they want based off how many chips they're giving you. So it's not entirely about that. But the real reason is so that when the machines seal the bags shut with the potato chips in them, it's so that the machines don't crush the chips when they're sealing the bag. Because what happens is you have an open bag, and then these two rectangular hands kind of push the bag together and then burn it to seal it. That's how those bags are sealed. Sometimes they're glued, but most of the time they're sealed with heat. And so the space in the bag is there so that when the arms come down and sandwich the bag closed and sear it closed, they don't crush the potato chips in the process. Another reasoning is so that it forms sort of a massive bubble of air in here, so that when these bags are rattled all over the place in crates and on trucks and stuff like that, if the bag just ended right here, there'd be nowhere for the potato chips to go, and there would be no cushion of any kind. So if this bag got squished, all these potato chips are turned to crumbs. With all this air here, it forms a gigantic air bubble that these chips can move around in, but also creates a cushion so that when you push on a chip bag, you don't just crush all the potato chips. Pretty cool, eh? I didn't even know that until I did some research into it. So purpose of packaging number 2 is convenience. Now, sometimes it's convenience for the end consumer, so the people who buy it at the very end, and that's always a huge consideration. But another consideration is convenience for the shopkeepers. So, for example, and I chose toothpaste because it illustrates both aspects of convenience. The reason why, and I'm sure you know this, but the reason why toothpaste is in a tube is so that you can roll the tube up and control how much paste you get. And it's just the easiest and cheapest way to access the fluid that's inside here. But if you just had the toothpaste tubes, what would happen if you were a shopkeeper and you tried to stack a whole bunch of them on a shelf? If you stacked them vertically, they'd all fall over, and if you stacked them on top of each other horizontally, they would just slide off to either side. So we have the box here to facilitate stacking, so that you can do like 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box, 5 box. So it's just really easy to stack on a shelf and to stack in a box for shipping. So they also use this to put a bit more info on there. But the main reason is the reason why that there's a tube and a box is so that shopkeepers can stack the boxes. All right, purpose of packaging number 3 is safety. Now this has to do with consumer safety. So we want to make sure that anyone who uses our product is safe while they're doing so. So a classic example is child-proof lighters. It's very easy to set a fire with a lighter. That is its purpose, after all. But we want to make sure that consumers are not setting fires to things by accident or to things they shouldn't be. Now, since children tend to have less understanding of how products work and how fire works and how easily out of control it can get, and how dangerous fires really are and how fast they catch, child-proof lighters, which is this sort of band here is up there to protect the child from using the lighter and burning the house down or burning their hand or whatever. Um, and the way this works is actually quite ingenious. If you look at your thumb, there's an amount of flesh on your thumb that can sort of, it's pliable, right? Like if you push on a surface, your thumb will sort of reach around the surface to an extent. Um, but when you're young, there's less flesh on your thumb to do that. So for a child, they can't push their thumb down far enough to get enough traction on these gears here. So until you reach a certain age, your thumb probably won't be able to generate enough friction to turn these gears and thus light the lighter. It's quite brilliant, actually. We don't have it so much anymore, but there was this sort of plastic packaging that action figures used to come in all the time. And it was really sharp. And if you were to like cut part of it open with scissors and then try to rip the bag open, I mean, ask anybody my age and they'll tell you that they have cut themselves. Um, and so that kind of packaging we don't see too much anymore. You still do sometimes, but safety can come down to even the kind of plastic that you use. Um, because if imagine if you're a parent and your kid's trying to open a toy and they slice themselves so badly they need stitches, and that's happened with this sort of, it's like a, what's the word? It's a bendable plastic. I mean, you'd be furious, right? Like, what was supposed to be a nice occasion of you getting your child a toy has turned into a hospital visit. I mean, that's really bad for the company in terms of public relations and stuff like that. So there's something to consider. There's lots of different aspects of safety. Okay, and the last one is promotion. So packaging serves as a promotion, and we call it the silent salesperson. So packaging can do a lot of advertising and talking about the brand without saying a word. And it's a good way to distinguish yourself from your competitors by using attractive, standoutish packaging that sends messages to the consumer. So here are two examples from Amazon, and I chose two things from Amazon because I just wanted to show you the variety that one company can use. So for example, did you ever notice that this arrow connects A to Z? I didn't notice that until I really sat down and thought about it. But yeah, Amazon, A to Z, because the whole idea is you can get anything off of Amazon. Now, that's not necessarily true, but you can get a lot of stuff off Amazon. So that's what this A to Z means. It's subtle, but it's interesting. Some people don't see it. Um, Also, when you guys probably know about Amazon Prime, and there's Prime Video, which is kind of like a Netflix streaming service, except there's far less content on there. But if you pay for a Prime membership for the free shipping and stuff, you get the Prime Netflix stuff as well. And whenever they come up with a blockbuster TV show or movie or whatever that they're really excited to release, Amazon will promote it on their boxes. So you probably have never heard of Tom Clancy unless you've played Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. But Tom Clancy is an author of a whole bunch of sort of suspension action thrillers from long before you were born. And Jack Ryan was one of them. So Amazon invested a ton of money in making a cutting edge action suspense TV show. And there you can see the actor who plays Jim from The Office, who's playing Jack Ryan. So for about a month, Amazon packaged any and all boxes with this promotion of the TV show because they invested a lot of money into making that TV show. And so I thought this was a brilliant way to promote. They're not even promoting the product that's in the box. How cool is that? They're promoting something else that they've done. And it just shows the variety and the complex ways that packaging can promote stuff. Anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. So, what I want you guys to do for this last exercise of the week is to look at some IRL examples of packaging. So, if you go to the Google form, you'll see a couple questions on there. Basically, I just want you to find some form of packaging, could be whatever you want, preferably in your own home. Please stay safe when you do this, um, and answer the questions using that piece of packaging. Okay? And that is it. So that's it for the product P. Anyway, I hope you found this lesson fun and informative, and I will see you next week. All right, take care and have a great Easter.